fall to lose it all, but in the end it doesn't even matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MSC F1.
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. Wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard.
Fantastic races, which have only been getting better in the last few years with the help of the redesigned part of the track. There you see one of them taking out the old turns 5, 6 and 7 hairpin chicane into a hairpin, turning it into one smooth corner, and of course the long banked turn 9 at the far end of the circuit, at the far end of the second straight, separated by this chicane here, turns 7 and 8. As meanwhile, there is the, as I'm also, as I say, following along F1 Live in at the O2 Arena. As I said while muted, that there was a chance I was going to be working that tonight. Actually, I know, like, for those of you who don't know much about me, I work in theatre and live events, and so I do a lot of kind of rigging and bits and pieces like that for live events. So there was a chance that yes, I was going to be at the O2 tonight, working away on that. Meanwhile, Welsh Sponge is around the final corner, turn 16 on this racetrack, and he is starting his first flying lap of the day on a set of the yellow-walled medium compound tyres. Heading up through the hill toward turns 2 and 3, you get to really see how hard aerodynamics have to work on these modern F1 cars at the start of the lap, and then down toward turn 5. Long hairpin where, of course, Max Verstappen would pull off what was a championship-winning move back in 2021, dethroning Lewis Hamilton. As now Welsh Sponge down the first of the two long back straights up toward 7 and 8, hard on the brakes for the ever-tightening chicane. Such a tricky traction zone as well. Then down the GT pit straight. Of course, this track was designed on reclaimed land, and so has many different alterations and layouts. And then there is the turn 9, the banked turn 9 hairpin that leads you into turns 10, 11, 12 and 13. 14 and 15 lead you under the hotel section. All of this is part of the redesign, the slight redesign. And then 15 and 16, the last two corners. So easy to run out wide here. Don't want to go all four wheels over the white line to prevent track lap invalidation. 123.5 is the first lap for Welsh Sponge. And straight away we'll have Phoenix Grey and the Duchy crossing the line. 24.5 for the Duchy, 23.578 for Phoenix Grey, 39 thousandths of a second slower than Welsh Sponge as he makes his way up onto that second lap. We also have Moomin Rider up to the line now in the McLaren. 124.4 goes up to P3, just in front of the Duchy by 0.08 of a second. Ale straight into the 123s, 123.759. Smalley puts in the lap slowest yet of anyone so far, 130.9. But that wouldn't surprise me if he, as usual, we've seen this a lot from Smalley in the last couple of races, that he will go for 2 warm-up laps at the start of qualifying. Carlos Sainz, 124.4, gets up into P4, as Aston Martin and Crytek, 124.7, straight away beaten by Damir, 123.9. That takes P4 for Damir and drops Krytek down to P8. The second of the two neon green kick Saubers is Angry Badger, who's just rounding the last corner now on a set of the red-walled soft compound tyres to the line, 24.3. It's a good show, a good early showing for Kick Sauber at the start of the day. Daddy Cool is the last car on track on a flying lap, and he is going into turns 7 and 8. That chicane at the, I say, far end of the circuit. It's quite close actually to my position in the commentary box. It is about halfway through the lap. Just so as you know what's going on at the F1 stream, if for those of you not watching, Jack Whitehall is doing a load of just public speaking to all the teams and drivers that are very neatly sat on tables around the walkway to the backstage area. Daddy Cool meanwhile is making his way through the last couple of corners now and up to the line. Daddy Cool 125.6 goes to P11. Smalley did indeed go for a second flying lap. It was a 25.4 for the Haas car. Daddy Cool 25.6 then. Those two the slowest yet of anyone so far, both of them on a set of the yellowed soft medium compound tyres, I should say. Cam McKenzie, Shane Boland, JK and Yanaudi are all out on track on an outlap. Beaton's joining the session, that gives us 19. Taz Manager rejoining the session as well. In the other of the two Williams cars, Adams is the second McLaren, still in the pits at the moment. Welsh Sponge is going even faster, he's staying out on track and it's a 23.449. That extends his lead at the front of the timing pack for the moment. Of course, no prizes are awarded at this stage in the competitive weekend, but just a little bit of pride can be taken. JK is heading down the back straight, 17.7 through the first sector. Also on a set of the medium tyres, that's looking like that is the norm for the moment. Oh, it is. Set of the medium compound tyres to start your runs. Adams is making his way out onto track for the first time today on a set of the red soft-walled, I'm really struggling, set of the red-walled soft compound tyres as he heads through turn number 5. Shane Boland starting a flying lap as well, 17.7. So interestingly, JK and Shane matching each other through the first sector, 53.1 for JK through the middle sector. We'll have a look at Shane's middle sector time when he gets there, 53.1 to beat, of course. Shane up to that middle sector now, 53.6, so JK with a much better middle section of the lap and goes up to P4 on a 23.8. Makes it another car into the 23s. Moomin Rider has just snuck in there as well. 23.909 gets himself up to P6. Cam McKenzie, Shane Boland both on laps as we know. Shane Boland coming to the end of a lap now with just a couple of right hand flicks to go. Now into turn number 16. Get the power down. Shane Boland to the line. 24.8 gets himself up into P11. Just in front of Smalley and Daddy Cool. Smalley, who is on another flying lap at the moment. Adams is just rounding the final corner to start a flying lap. And Taz Manager is on an outlap, which means most of the last of the few cars to set lap times yet are out on track. Smalley improves to a 25.198, 0.2 of a second improvement, remains P12. However, Phoenix Grey is on a push lap at the moment. There he is going through turns 7 and 8, the chicane halfway through the lap. And plenty of clear air in front. It's now Phoenix Grey to the middle sector split. This will give us Phoenix Grey's backed off on this lap. I was going to say it will give us a good indication as to what kind of lap times Flying Scotsman has, or whether he can beat that 23.5 that sees him in P2 for the moment. But yeah, plus 7 seconds, Flying Scotsman knocking it back a gear for this moment in time. Cam McKenzie set a lap time as a 27.0, so Cam will be taking a second flying lap. Ultron's joined the session as well. That gives us 19 now in the grid. which means we're looking for the slowest 4 cars to get eliminated here at the first part of qualifying. Meanwhile, Adams around the last corner to get himself out of the drop zone. Adams to the line, 23.523, goes up to P2, looking like we've got a 3-way battle for the top spot at the moment between the Flying Scotsman, Adams, and Welsh Sponge. Tasmania and Yanaudi both on flying laps. Ortron and Beaton are on out laps. Cam McKenzie is found that missing 2.5 seconds that we were expecting him to have through the middle sector. Now only has 1 corner left to go on his second attempt at a flying lap. Cam McKenzie to the line, up to P4, 23.6, and bridging that gap between the top 3 and a lot of the rest of the top 10. He's on a lap at the moment. Beaton is on a push lap. Ortron not too far away from starting one. Tasmanager's on the way to finishing one, so we'll follow Tasmanager till the end of his flying lap. Only has 1 corner to go. And up to the line for Tasmanager is a 25.602, goes up to P16. And it looks like we might have the first car reveal coming up as well in the next few moments of time. Looks like the Kicksauber sticking with their green, judging by a lot of the flashing lights going on. As Daddy Cool on a new outlap, looking to get himself out of the P17 he finds himself in at the moment. Ortron, Beaton both starting their flying laps now, so the last 2 cars to set flying lap times are on a push. And Welsh Sponge is on an invalidated outlap on a flying run, and not going any faster than previously. I have to say right now, as part of the Kicksauber car reveal, they've just been showing some military-like drumming with some glowing green drumsticks. It looks very cool indeed. As Beaton, his first flying lap time, good enough for P7, a 123.8. That was on a set of the medium compound tyres. As Ortron then becomes the last car to set a flying lap. Yanaudi's lap was a 24.3. That sees him currently sitting P10 in the Silver Arrow. But Yanaudi looking like he wants another flying run, another flying lap on this run, and so going again. Tasmanager heading back to the pits. Daddy Cool starting a new flying lap. Ortron has only a couple of corners left in his flying lap. His first flying lap of the day. We have just over 5.5 minutes left in this first qualifying session. And Ortron around the final corner has been putting in some good results for Ferrari in the last couple of days. Of course, that surprise podium last time out in Baku in the treacherous rain made some good points. Ortron got up to a 24.364. That sees him in P12. So the drop zone at the moment is the 2 Haas cars. Shane Boland and Smalley, Tasmanager and Daddy Cool. Daddy Cool on a flying lap at the moment, as we know. Welsh Sponge has retired from the session. He feels he's safe. Smalley and Shane Boland are both on an out lap as we speak. Adams retires from the session, so too does the LLA with 5 minutes left on the clock. They don't think that the track is going to rubber in enough for their mid-23s to be challenged by those behind. Cam McKenzie as well, another one. So that leaves only Phoenix Gray left of the mid-23s as Beaton retires as well. Meanwhile, we're going to follow Daddy Cool as he has 1 corner left to go. He's found half a second on this lap alone. So the track definitely is rubbering in a bit. Daddy Cool to the line, 24.696. Gets himself up to P15. That drops Krytek down a spot. Krytek on an out lap. Smalley now on a push lap. Kicksauber are revealing their car now. Still yet to see a properly good shot of it. It looks very neon green. As Smalley heads up to the first sector split. Not improving, but only 0.02 of a second slower than his previous personal best. So plenty of time left in that car. And a little bit of a slipstream coming off the Williams of Tasmanager in front could help Smalley very nicely on his way here down the middle sector straight. The Kicksauber is neon green, fading to black across the length of the body, much like the Mercedes of this year's car, and looks very smart indeed. I have to say, I quite like that. I thought the Kicksauber of this year looks quite good, especially under the lights. as Smalley gets out of this flying run. Doesn't want to finish it, of this flying lap I should say. Gives the track position back to Taz Manager, and Smalley tries to find himself some space. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey on a push lap and finding some time to take away the top couple of spots from Welsh Sponge and Phoenix Grey. Who else is on a lap? Moomin Rider's on a push lap at the moment. Angry Badger is on a push lap but not improving through the first sector. Through the middle sector split, still not improving, so Moomin Rider looking good. Ultron on a slow lap at the moment. Daddy Cool is returning to the pits. Crytek's on a push lap and found a 10th through the first sector. Shane Bolan is coming up to the middle sector split now. 2 minutes 40 left on the clock. Quarter of a second improvement for Shane. As across the line goes Moomin Rider, 23.467. That puts two McLarens in the top 3. Smalley going for a new flying lap there. Taz Manager not improving in the first sector. Angry Badger retires from the session as well on a 24.0. Who is on a lap? Shane Bolan is going to be the first car on a lap to finish a lap. Up to the line comes Shane Bolan. Improves by 0.355 of a second. Goes up to P14, 24.469. That drops Daddy Cool back into the drop zone. As Crytek set to 24.0. That gets himself up to P11. 2 minutes left on the clock. The Dutchie now in the drop zone. The Dutchie is on a outlap and is on some soft compound tyres. Daddy Cool has just got himself back to the garage. He might be in trouble here, Daddy Cool. Are we going to lose an Alpine at the first point of asking? Smalley has found a 10.5 through the first and middle sectors as he heads into the final few corners now. Looking to improve. He needs to find about half a second, and an invalidation there at the end of the lap does not bode well. Has a minute 25, so we'll have one more attempt at this, but only one. Taz Manager finished the lap and improved by 0.3 of a second to a 25.295, but it's still the slowest yet of anyone so far. Smalley is returning to the pit. He is done for the day. Daddy Cool is out on track. I don't think he's going to get round to start a flying lap. The Dutchie found a 10th of a second through the first sector. Shane Bolan will have time to go again if he's got the fuel and the tyres to do it. Carlos Sainz is on an outlap with the minute left, just in case he needs to go again on that 24.410. Ultron is still in the pit. His session is done. Yanaudi is on track as well. Moomin Rider is retiring from the session. Phoenix Grey abandoned that lap that we saw him on a few moments ago. Shane Bolan is going again. Carlos Sainz going again. The Dutchie found 0.4 of a second through the first sector. As on the stream, oh, it's not quite neon green, it's almost more of a neutral lime green. The Dutchie finishes his flying lap time 23.7, goes up to P6. He is safely through to Quali 2. Shane Bolan is now in the drop zone. All of a sudden Carlos Sainz needs to be on that flying lap. Daddy Cool has 7 seconds to get around the last corner here. Daddy Cool might just get one more lap time in. 2, 1, no, the checkered flag falls. Daddy Cool unable to go again. He is out, so too is Smalley, as is Taz Manager. So it's all about this last spot between Shane Bolan, who just retires from the session. So there we go, the end of qualifying. All of the important places are sorted for this one, in that the slowest 4 are out. So we say goodbye at the first point of asking to Shane Bolan, Daddy Cool, Smalley and Taz Manager. That means we have Welsh Sponge, Moomin Rider, Adams, Phoenix Grey, Cam McKenzie, the Dutchie, LA, JK, Beaton, Damir, Angry Badger, Crytek, Yanaudi, Ultron and Carlos Sainz will go through to Quali 2, where we will be losing the next 5 slowest drivers. Anyway, yes, just a little bit more description about that new Kick Sauber car. Yeah, kind of think of the current Mercedes starting kind of a vibrant colour around the nose cone before fading into black, and it was a more of a green flag green than the kind of day glow green of this year's this year's Kick-Sauber car. Well, Sponge first in there saying that it looks a little ugly. Yeah, I think they should have just kept to the neon green. To be honest, I agree with you, Welsh Sponge. Carlos Sainz saying that he was feeling the pressure a little bit there. Well, Carlos, you did not need to. I think you did improve, I believe, your time as you crossed the line, but you didn't need to. As now we head toward qualifying 2, where, as I say, we will lose the next 5 slowest drivers. As there is the final classifications, and it was a set of mediums for Welsh Sponge, Phoenix Grey, Cam McKenzie, Alay, JK and Beaton. Everyone else set their best lap times on softs, with the exception of Smalley. So an important one there, the Haas sandbagging a little bit. Everyone else on a set of softs, except for those 6 in the top 10, who we're yet to see some true pace from. Meanwhile, the Williams are getting on and ready to prepare their livery for 2025. Have quite a nice little highlights reel from their long history in F1 going alongside them. Of course, the yellow, white and blue of the old Camel livery cars. 15 minutes on the clock, 15 drivers in the garages for Quali 2. And no one jumping to the track at the moment. I say that just as the Mercedes Cam McKenzie, I believe that was. No, correction, it's the Ferrari of Alay being followed out by the Williams of Carlos Sainz. Gets underway. Carlos Sainz, you'll be interested to know what livery you have got for next year's game. Giving it the big, are you ready? And it's on this. Oh, it's already up on the scissor lift. That's very nice. Bit of theatrical design. And the new Williams. Gotta be honest, that looks exactly the same as the current one. A little bit more black around the nose cone. Slightly more rounded. Slightly less at the nose. It looks a bit kind of wedge nose at the front does the current Williams. I always thought that. New Williams looks slightly more rounded. Otherwise, it is pretty much the exact same livery, other than you've lost the Duracell battery around the... Oh no, that's still there. It is just the exact same livery. Williams have not changed a thing this year compared to last year, other than their title sponsor, which looks like it's by Atlasian for this year. Meanwhile, who's out on track for us? Carlos Sainz, Moonman Rider, Welsh Sponge, LA, Phoenix Grey, Crytek, Daymir, Beaton, Autron, Cam McKenzie, the Dutchie, JK, Adams. 14 of the 15 cars are on track, and Yanaudi is exiting the pits now, which means that we have all 15 cars on track at the moment, and Welsh Sponge is not going to be the first one. It will be Carlos Sainz, the first car across the line to start a flying lap on a set of the medium compound tyres. He's being followed by LA, also on a set of the mediums. As the first 2 cars make their way through Sector 1, we'll give you timing comparisons. 17.7 for Carlos Sainz through the first sector. LA 17.5, so straight away putting a tenth of a second on Carlos Sainz in the first sector alone. A load of Williams mechanics have just walked down the ramp. I wonder if they're going to do a Williams playing the double bluff. They are. That was the last year's livery car. No, they're not. That is just exactly what it looks like. Carlos Sainz has just walked down alongside Alex Albon for their driver interviews. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz 53.6 through the middle sector. LA 53.1. So it's looking good for the Ferrari at the moment. Half tenth to the good of Carlos Sainz as they make their way through the final sector. No one in front of them that will hinder their lap times from here. And up to the line for Carlos Sainz. What's it going to be? It's a 24.4 for Carlos Sainz. and an invalidated lap time for Alele. It would have been a 23.6, but it was invalidated. So no lap time there for Alele. He will need to go again. Welsh Sponge improves to sets a lap time of a 23.4, a second faster than Carlos Sainz, and we see him on the set of soft compound tyres the first time today. Alele, what has gone on there, I believe, is that he ran out wide in turn 15 or 16 and was thus handed a track invalidation for both the lap he was on and the lap he was about to start. So this lap for Alele will not count either. Phoenix Grey 23.1. JK has gone faster on a lower 23.4 than Welsh Sponge. Moomin Rider 23.9 is beaten by Dameo on a 23.7 for P4. The Dutchie set a 24.3 for P6. Cam Kenzie 24.5 for P8. Crytek 24.6 for P9. Ortron is headed back to the pits. Angry Badger 24.9 goes to P10. Slowest yet of anyone so far. Beaten is on a flying lap. So too Adams, Yanaudi and Alele. Yanaudi coming to the end of a lap. 24.2 goes up to P6. And is looking very, very solid. Ortron back in the pits. That means we'll have 14 of the 15 lap times. And I say that Alele heads to the pits as well. So neither Ferrari setting a lap time in the opening few moments of Quali 2. Beaten, though, is looking to complete this lap for Red Bull. Does have the Aston Martin a little bit in front, and the Aston Martin doing very nicely there, which is that is the Aston Martin of JK doing very nicely to get out of the way of the flying Red Bull. As now beaten around the last couple of corners up to the line in Red Bull 28.8. Has abandoned the lap somewhere. Could have fooled me, looked like he was racing hard. Adams, though, is not racing hard. Adams is returning to the pits. So, 3 cars not setting a lap time in the first 6 minutes. 4 cars not setting a representative lap time in the first 6 minutes. As Beaton goes around again for a new flying lap. And Shane Boland has just announced that he is pulling away for the rest of the night as a health condition. So, Shane Boland, I don't know if you're watching, but hope you feel better soon, mate, and look to see you on the track in that Haas very, very soon. Meanwhile, Beaton on his second flying lap has come around the last couple of corners now for a 23.9. Goes up to P5, and Cam McKenzie has just told us that that 24.5 comes around for his 2-year-old child wanting a kiss. That's quite cute, actually. A little bit of family bonding time in the last sector while driving at 150 miles an hour. Why not? Who's on a flying lap at the moment? No one. Who's on an out lap at the moment? That's a better question. Phoenix Grey, Carlos Sainz, Crytek, Ortron and Adams are all on out laps. I say that just as Carlos Sainz starts a flying lap. And as always, I'll say a quick hello to the YouTube stream as well. In fact, I might just go and check that now. Anyone watching alongside me with the MSC F1 YouTube channel and the stream there, say hello in the chat. I am keeping tabs on that as well as we go through the day. So to the Twitch chat, as always, please do say hello if you're watching along. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz finds himself in P9 as he goes through the middle sector split and is improving by just about 0.2 of a second as he hits to turn 9 actually. Ortron on a flying lap with Adams about to start a flying lap now, rounding the final corner. And Ale still in the pits for Ferrari, no sign of a new flying run there. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz coming to the end of a flying lap. Going under the hotel, the Yas Island Hotel. Carlos Sainz somewhere on this lap has lost all of his front wing, so is returning to the pits. I hadn't noticed that, but there we go, Carlos returning to the pits as Ortron crosses the line, sets a 25.3, slowest of anyone so far for the Ferrari. He'll be hoping to turn that around for the pride of the Tifosi. Who else is on a lap? Adams is on a lap and is coming to the end of a lap in the McLaren Championship contender. Of course, the one thing I've realised that I've not actually done yet is a championship roundup of where everyone is. As I say, there are 10 rounds left in the 10 rounds left in this massively long championship battle. Adams goes up to P2, 23.231. On those set of soft compound tyres. So, drivers' standings after last weekend's Azerbaijani Grand Prix. Phoenix Gray leads the way by 32 points over this man here. Adams in the McLaren with beaten a further 42 back in P3 on 242. JK then heads up the best of the rest in front of Moomin rider Cam McKenzie, Edvir, Wes H, Ortron, who made up a lot of places with that P3 finish. Yanaudi, Simon Levac, who we've not seen in a while, Damir, Krytek, Shane Bolan, Daddy Cool, Smalley, and that is the kind of the bottom end of the standings. Meanwhile, in the constructors, Red Bull running away with it by 146 points to McLaren, who've got about 90 points back to Mercedes, who are 17 points clear of Aston Martin. A good little tussle happening there for P3. Otherwise, not many championship constructors battles going on. Who else is on lap? While I've been doing my championship roundup, Cam McKenzie, toddler free this time around, has just set a 23.0 that puts him to the top of the standings in the Mercedes. Mercedes in front of Red Bull in Yas Marina. Oh dear, this will be bringing back some painful memories for some members of the F1 community. Excuse me, there's a couple of hiccups coming from me at the moment. I had rather a spicy curry for dinner. Very good, very tasty curry. It was homemade, but oh yeah, very, very, very warming on a cold winter's night. Let's put it that way. Meanwhile, Cam McKenzie is returning to the pits. Phoenix Gray and Welch Sponge are both on outlaps. Moomin Rider is on a push lap, I believe, going through the chicane at the middle of the lap, as the RB team do their walk down for their car reveal. Of course, Yuki Tsunoda being joined by Isaac Hadjar, one of 6 debutants making up the grid for this season. And they're going for a good old cloth reveal of their livery. Meanwhile, Moomin Rider rounding the last couple of corners now under the Yas Island Hotel. And a yellow flag in the final sector. That's for one of the kick Albers. Meanwhile, oh, I say, the RB car, as Moomin Rider across the line, 23.3, goes up to P4, or McLaren Row 2 at the moment. The RB car is literally a white Red Bull. Yellow nose, yellow ring around the airbox, Red Bull, literally Red Bull on the back, Hugo Boss written on the front wing, and Red Bull written on the rear wing. Yikes. That's the don't quite like that, to be honest. It's if you remember the Istanbul livery that Red Bull ran from a couple of years ago, it's that. Meanwhile, who's on a flying lap? Phoenix Gray Moomin Rider and Welsh Sponge are all on flying laps in the top 6. JK's on an out lap. So too is Daymir, Beaton, Yanaudi, Dutchy, Carlos Sainz, Angry Badger and Ortron are on push laps. Alele's on a push lap as well. Or is on an out lap, I should say. Who is in the drop zone? The drop zone at the moment, the bottom 5 cars, is the Dutchy, Carlos Sainz, Angry Badger, Ortron and Ale. Welsh Sponge's lap was 1/1000th of a second slower than Cam McKenzie, and that puts him up to P2, but Phoenix Gray in the true Red Bull is going faster, or at least was in the middle sector, has a couple of corners left to go to secure his spot in the top 10 for quali 3. 50 seconds left on the clock, up to the line. Phoenix Gray, first car into the 22s, 22.963. Moomin Rider returning to the pits. JK not improving through the first sector. Damir's on that outlap. Beaton's found a quarter of a second through the first couple of sectors. Yanaudi has lost time to his previous best. The Dutchy's found half a second. Who's that? Who's just finished a lap? That was Ortron going to a 23.7 up to P8. Ooh, he might get away with that. Depends who behind is going quicker. Yanaudi, we say, not going faster. We know the Dutchy is. Carlos Sainz not improving through the first sector. Angry Badger's return to the pits. His qualifying is done. Ale still yet to set a representative lap time. The Dutchy, though, the first car that could put Beaton in trouble. Beaton gets himself out of trouble on a 23.2. That drops Krytek down into P11 as the Dutchy gets up to a 23.333. He's up in P6. So Yanaudi, Carlos Sainz and Ale to knock Ortron out. Ale will be the first car around the final corner to knock out his Ferrari teammate. Ale to the line, goes up to P2 on a 23.002. So Ortron joins those not carrying on because he doesn't have the battery to go again on this lap. Yanaudi improved to P12, but he is out qualifying as well. Carlos Sainz to the line, splits Yanaudi and Krytek to P13, but he is out as well. So we have the 5 we're losing are Ortron, Yanaudi, Carlos Sainz, Krytek and Angry Badger, and the gap between safety and the drop zone was 4/1000ths of a second between Daymir and Ortron, and a further 38,000ths of a second from Ortron to Yanaudi. So the barest of all margins knocks out the Ferrari and the Mercedes here in the desert sands. As Beaton takes the flag, everyone else gets pushed back into their garages. That brings an end to qualifying 2. And it looks like at the O2 we're having a little bit of a musical interlude with the reveal of the RB team. Don't believe I've missed the Haas yet. I think we're going in reverse championship order from last year's standings. As there is Beaton carrying on into the night on his AI controlled in-lap. Indeed it was. Three teams have revealed their liveries for the 2025 season. So it looks like we'll be having a break. I wonder if we're going 3-2-2 or 3-3-2-2. I don't know how long F1 are trying to extend this this show into the night. Meanwhile, our show carries on in the United Arabian Desert. And 12 minutes are on the clock for our 10 drivers to set their best lap time for Quali 3. So what, let me know any thoughts on the any liveries. Welsh Sponge saying the Williams has more blue on it than black this year around compared to last year. Yes, it looked like that, but otherwise it was just a carbon copy of last year. Let's be honest, with that very nice maroon blue, but deep blue, I should say. But and yes, the white Red Bull that is the RB. Meanwhile, we have many cars heading out on track, being led by LA, with only one team having both cars left in qualifying, the two McLarens of Adams and Moomin Rider. Everyone else only no, correction, and the Red Bulls as well. Be fair to Phoenix Grey and Beaton, but LA is the first car on track. 3 cars remained in the garage. It was Welsh Sponge, Adams and Beaton. The other 7 are all out on track, as I say. With 10.5 minutes left. Do you remember the days where there was only 10 minutes in qualifying 3? It was 2015-10. As it looks like now we get ready for the Haas car reveal. MoneyGram Haas, of course, this year looked was kind of white, black and red. It reminded me a bit of the the kind of late 1990s McLarens. As LA starts the flying lap, being followed by Cam McKenzie. Passing the slow-moving McLaren of Adams, who's out on track. So too is the RB of Welsh Sponge, which means that only Beaton is left in the pits at the moment for Red Bull. Everyone else is out on track, and LA is heading down the first of the 2 long back straights up toward turn 7 and 8. And away he goes out of turn 8 into down the GT pit straight and in toward turn 9, 52.8 through the middle sector for LA. As LA now under the hotel, a very famous hotel that sits overlooking the Marina Bay. LA now into turn 15 and 16, squirting the throttle now. 23.192 for LA, the benchmark for them all to beat. Cam McKenzie, the first challenger, 23.322. As Adam starts flying lap, Moomin Rider 23.393. JK 23.129 is a few hundredths of a second faster than JK. Phoenix Grey straight back to where he was at the end of quali 2 with a low 23.0. With a high 23.0, I should say, 23.083. Other lap times that have come in: Dutchie 23.552, Damir 23.585. So everyone in the low to mid 123s. So far. Beaton still in the pits. Adams and Welsh Sponge on push laps at the moment. As the Haas car for the year gets revealed. And Welsh Sponge makes his way around the last couple of corners. Adams just into the final sector. Welsh Sponge now around the final corner, up to the line. 23.659, slowest yet of anyone so far. Beaton's now on an outlap. We've got all 10 cars on track at the moment. And the Haas for the year, slightly more white on it than black, but otherwise pretty much a very similar design to last year's car. As Adams now around the final corner to the line, slightly snaky out the final corner, and that might have cost him the 100th of a second that he is behind Beaton, Phoenix Grey, I should say, on track. On lap time, 23.093. As Beaton is on that outlap, has most of the track to himself now. Only 2 other cars are on it. Beaten now into the last sector, the last section of his warm-up lap. This is where you really get the last few newtons of energy into the tyres so that you can start the flying lap with full speed, and away goes Beaten onto that flying lap now. Down towards turns 1 and 2. Who else is on track? Everyone else is on their way back to the pits with the exception of, including Welsh Sponge. I thought he was going round again for a second flying lap, but only 5 minutes 45 left on the clock. And Adams makes his way back to the pits. That was a Mercedes back out on track. That's Cam Mackenzie back out on track on a new set of the soft compound tyres. He'll be looking to join Phoenix Gray and Adams and JK and LA all on the battle for the front row. All of the top 4 currently separated by 0.109 of a... yeah, that's right, 0.109 of a second, so really very little. And it's in fact just over that gap, 1.13 back to Cam Mackenzie from the top 4, so just goes to show how tight the field spread is here in MSC F1 when it really does get down to the pointy end of the day. 4 minutes 45 now left on the clock as Beaten rounds the final corner to the line. 23.252 goes up to P5, drops Cam Mackenzie down to P6. But we know that Cam is on that outlap. Will have pretty much all of the track to himself. If he has fuel to do it, he could go for 2 flying laps here on this run to close off qualifying for the night. And around the final corner he goes, starting that flying lap now. Everyone else but Beaten is in the pits. 4 minutes left on the clock. So the one thing I like about the Haas car this year, they've just shown the side elevation of it again. It looks like something you could make in the F1 games. Looks like a kind of slightly pre-designed livery, but it does look very nice and very elegant, very refined. As Cam Mackenzie heads down the first of the 2 back straights, Moomin Rider is out on track for an outlap for his final run in qualifying. So too, that is the Red Bull of Phoenix Gray that's on the roll. And Cam Mackenzie now to the middle sector split, improving by 0.141 of a second. This will get him truly into the pole position fight. There's a Phoenix Gray. There he is, starting the outlap. Beaten has returned to the pits for Red Bull. 3 minutes on the clock. He might just have time to strap a new set of boots on and come back out on track again. As into the last couple of corners comes Cam Mackenzie now up to the line for the Mercedes team. It's a mammoth final sector. It's the fastest lap we've seen in the day. Cam Mackenzie, a 1:22.880, takes provisional pole position. 2 minutes 45 left on the clock. He will not have time to get round again unless he's going for an elongated run this time around. Meanwhile, out on track, Welsh Sponge, Damir, Dutchy, Moomin Rider, the slowest 4 cars of the top 10. And Moomin Rider is around turn 16 now, starting his flying lap. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. And we know Phoenix Gray on that outlap as well. Beaten, Beaten's rolling down pit lane. One of the Ferraris, that is the Ferrari of Alea rolling down pit lane. JK, movement in the Aston Martin garage. He's coming out on track. Adams is out on track. All 10 cars then are rolling as we speak. Well, as I speak, and the Alpine car getting ready to be revealed. Phoenix Gray starting that flying lap. This is the one we care about here in the battle for pole position. Phoenix Gray improving by 0.02 of a second through the first sector, as Alpine have a bit of a DJ moment for their car reveal, while Phoenix Gray heads down the very long back straight up toward turns 7 and 8. I believe I've been getting this wrong, Mr. I believe it is only turns 6 and 7. with turn 8 being this long kind of run down the GT pit straight. Cam Mackenzie is retired from the session in the pits. Phoenix Gray has not found any time through the middle sector. In fact, he's lost time, plus 0.078 of a second. So he's about 0.08 of a second slower. But it can all be found in the final sector. All he needs to find, Moonman is set at 23.045. He's on to the front row of the grid. Phoenix Gray, this will be his last lap of qualifying unless he goes again. Straight away, Phoenix Gray rounds the final corner now, up to the line. Does not take pole position away. 22.906, 26 thousandths of a second slower than Cam Mackenzie. Moonman Rider drops back off the front row of the grid. Who else is on a lap? Everyone but JK is on a lap, and Cam Mackenzie, of course, who is done. 30 seconds remain in the session. Damir is going to be the next car to cross the start-finish line as he rounds the final corner now in the kick Sauber to the line. Slightly wobbly out the final corner. 23.120 goes up to P5. JK on that flying lap coming up to the first sector split has improved by 0.09 of a second. Alele heading down the back straight now, beaten just in front of Alele. The Dutchie, he's returning to the pits. His qualifying session is done. He will not improve. The best he will start is P9, but the Welsh Sponge is improving, and that could drop the Dutchie back down to P10. As the Welsh Sponge to the line, 22.971 drops Moonman Rider back to P4. Welsh Sponge though could not take away a front row spot. Adams though, he's in P5 at the moment. Rounds the final corner now, up to the line for Adams. What can the McLaren driver do? Can't take pole position, loses time in the final sector. He will start P5 at best. Who else is on a lap? Beaton is on a lap, and he's going to be the next car to the line. He's got Alele behind him. Beaton on the run to the line now. Improves to provisional pole. Alele, the car behind, can't get there, but goes up to P4. 100th of a second slower than Beaton. JK, the final car to the line. P6, 22.987. We have 6 cars inside a 10th of a second. This is a tight qualifying session, folks, and it's definitely the tightest I've seen in a very long while as Damir returns to the pit. Only the Dutchie fell above a 23.125. And this is deserving of a slurp of my cup of tea. I think, Spudge, on your comment about the Haas livery, it does have slightly more white on it than it did last year. But the Alpine team are really playing it out for their car reveal. There is the final classifications, and there you see the top 5 separated by a 10th of a second. 0.116 back to JK. From pole. 7 cars inside 2 tenths, 9 cars inside a quarter of a second. Folks, if that's not tight, I don't know what is. So please don't go anywhere, because this is going to be a massively entertaining race if it stays as close as this all throughout the 29 laps. Meanwhile, the DJ set for the Alpine car reveal is still going on. And there has been a spam activity in my Twitch chat. That's not very nice. And the Alpine car gets revealed, and it is pink and blue. And very little black on there this year, which is nice to see. It's a pink, currently is a pink nose with blue side pods. That's the 2 camera angles I've seen on the Alpine so far. Let's have a proper look at that in a moment's time. Yeah, kind of pink front, blue sides is the Alpine of this year. and it does with a pink stripe around the exhaust pipe, so it looks quite nice. That does the Endstone team, as we wait for, already there it is. In fact, the race will start at 1 minute past the hour, as Jack Doohan, Pierre Gasly and the team principal for Alpine, I'm not sure who the team principal is at the moment, head to their interviews. Damir calling it in the Twitch chat, 0.2 off pole and still P9. That just goes to show the quality of driver we have here in MSC F1. Meanwhile, let's have a quick look at the YouTube stream. As I say, please do say hello if you're watching along there via there as well. And we should be getting underway, racing in about 90 seconds or so, so longer time that only just longer time than our drives have been lapping this track. Of course, first debuted in 2009 as the season finale, but the F1 title was already decided by then in that year, alongside other famous races at this track. Of course, 2010, Sebastian Vettel, Du bist Weltmeister, winning his first Drivers' Championship with the aid of, has to be said, of Vitaly Petrov in the Renault, holding up Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso. Of course, 2014, that double points race that saw Hamilton claim that championship. 2016, of course, Hamilton trying to slow Rosberg down enough and back Rosberg into the Red Bulls so he can win the championship, failing to do so that time around. And then, of course, there was all too famous 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. No Mikey, no Mikey, that was so not right, in the words of Toto Wolff. As we head now in just a couple of moments' time toward the formation lap and the first sniff at potential strategies, and a bit like real life F1 in the last couple of years, we've got two McLarens and two Red Bulls at the pointy end of the field, and this is promising to be very, very exciting. And someone else who they're just going on the F1 stream at the moment. Some of the drivers from the F1 Academy are there tonight, all sitting around the same table as Susie Wolff, of course, who has been kind of leading the development of the W Series and now F1 Academy for the last 4-5 years now. And so, very nice to see that Susie Wolff is in attendance. So we wait now just a few more moments, I believe, until we get underway for the formation lap, and of course the real racer proper. As Aston Martin get ready to do their car reveal, their livery reveal, I'm betting it's going to be British Racing Green. That's going to be my very early bet for this one. As here we go now, ready for the formation lap in MSC F1's round 14 of season 5. And there is the early tyre choices for the grid. The top 6 all going on a set of mediums, but on row 4 of the grid, the 2 McLarens are both choosing a set of the hard compound tyres. For everyone else though, it is a set of mediums in the top 10. Damir, Duchy, Ortron, who's P11, all on a set of mediums. Yanaudi, set of hards. Carlos Sainz and Krytek, set of mediums. Angry Badger, Shane Boland, who we know is not racing today after setting that qualifying run. Hards and mediums. Daddy Cool, Smalley, Tasmanja, the 3 at the back are all on hards. As we make our way up to the reformation of the grid, of course, Beaton on pole in front of Cam McKenzie and Phoenix Gray. He's dropped away a little bit in the last few races, has Beaton, but he is still very much a part of the championship battle. Not that many points behind Stroll, or not Stroll, Phoenix Gray or Adams. I say Stroll because Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are doing their car reveal while wearing suits and have just walked out to the crowd in their racing helmets. If that is not the play of a team that are trying to be mildly over cocky, then I'm not entirely sure what is. As the cars now round the last few corners and line up on the grid. And we will have no interruptions, just the cars as they line up on the grid. As around come second row of Kick Selbers, the 2 Haas cars and the Williams of Tasmanja, denoting the last few cars on the grid. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's go, go, go for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it looks like a slightly snaky start from Cam McKenzie. It's a dominant start though for Beaton on the left hand side of the screen, now sweeping into turn 1, and he's clearing away. Cam McKenzie and Phoenix Gray trying to have a fight through turns 2 and 3 now, and we follow Cam McKenzie and Phoenix Gray on the run through turn 3. The bollard already being kicked loose there in the background as well. Sponge trying to find a way through. He sits P5 as up the inside goes Cam McKenzie into turn 5 on Phoenix Gray, and that looks like that move is done as we now head up the hill toward up the straight I should say, towards turns 6 and 7. Cam McKenzie losing out the drag race to Phoenix Gray, slotting in front of Welsh Sponge in P3. Alea remains P5. Adams has made up ground. He's up in front of JK for P6. Moomin Rider P8. Yanaudi and Carlos Sainz wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 8, turn 7 as I should say, as they make their way around turn 8 down toward turn 9. The Duchy, Damir, Krytek, Angry Badger, Smalley, Ortron, Shane Boland, Daddy Cool, Tasmanja make up the back of the grid, but it's Beaton that leads the way heading down into the marina section. There is the famous Yas Island Hotel, and Beaton already a second clear of his teammate Phoenix Gray as they head onto lap 2, and we will have DRS on the 2 DRS straights. And spinning out in the background there, that is Cam McKenzie getting loose on the curb at turn 16, gets it back underway. I can't tell if he's got any front wing damage or not. Let's have a look and see as he disappears behind the timing screen. Yes, he does. He's missing an end plate there and quite a lot of the right hand side of that front wing. That will be very difficult to drive on an anti-clockwise circuit, which this is, as he has to now make it the long way around back to the pits. But Beaton running away from Phoenix Gray. He's got Welsh Sponge, LA, Adams, JK, Moomin Rider, Yanaudi, Carlos Sainz, the Duchy for company inside the top 10. But there is Damir, Krytek, Angry Badger, Smalley, Ortron, Daddy Cool, Shane Boland, Cam McKenzie and Tasmanja, the rest of the field. And yes indeed, the new Aston Martin is British Racing Green, with a couple of flashes of kind of neon, of brawn neon yellow alongside. Meanwhile, on the run down toward turn 9, Welsh Sponge has got in front of Phoenix Gray, and now Alea is trying to get involved as well as they make their way into the final sector. In the background, Carlos Sainz and the Duchy swapping positions. Williams in front of Alpine there. Carlos Sainz just about gets it stopped on the brakes into turn 12. I had to do a little bit of backwards counting there from turn 16. Beaten set to purple lap, only to be straight away beaten by Welsh Sponge. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That's for Taz Manager, who has had an issue under the Yas Island Hotel. It's back underway, but you can see a little bit of damage there on the front wing. Cam Mackenzie made it back to the pits for Mercedes. Thankfully, this is a low tyre degradation track, so he could go into a set of hards, but it's a set of the mediums chosen for Cam Mackenzie, and away he will go once that wing gets replaced. There we go. Meanwhile, down the first of the two, back straight, and it's Beaton leading the way by a second and a half. Welsh Sponge, Phoenix Grey, Allay, the cars behind, but no moves being made there. But it's an all Red Bull 1-2-3, Red Bull Powertrains 1-2-3, as Phoenix Grey now behind Allay, again overtaken by Allay, who's had a much better drive and has gone clean around the outside. That looks like maybe an area that Phoenix Grey is weak, that traction zone out of turn 7. Caught him out twice now, 2 moves in 2 laps, and now he has to sit in P4 for a little while longer. Welsh Sponge, meanwhile, 1.2 off the back of Beaton, gaining a little bit of time. Meanwhile, not many other moves being made. Yanaudi kind of now the cork and the stopper of the Dutchy and Carlos Sainz. The Dutchy's got back in front of the Williams, as the Alpine now trying to line up a way to get past the Mercedes. Any other trains happening? Autron's got Smalley and Daddy Cool for company. As through goes Taz Manager there in P18. Meanwhile, Beaton 1.3 clear of Welsh Sponge as we head in toward turn 5 on lap number 4. Welsh Sponge with a lay, Phoenix Grey. Moomin Rider's got JK going into turn 5. There in the background is Yanaudi and the Dutchy as we head down the back straight. Here we go. This could be an interesting one for Welsh Sponge. Not much in the way of DRS swapping as they try to close down the leader. The Dutchy's got in front of Yanaudi. Damir's got in front of Carlos Sainz on the run into the chicane. And now can Yanaudi take the move back on the run up toward turn 9 as Allay gets in front of Welsh Sponge and gets inside the 1 second window of Beaton. Carlos Sainz trying to go around the outside of Damir there, not quite being able to sling it around the outside using that banking, so he'll have to sit in P11 for a while longer yet. Smalley and Autron swap position. Smalley up to P14 now as Welsh Sponge gets back in front of Allay. That's down in turn 15, and these two have just lost themselves 0.6 of a second to Beaton as they were pretty much side by side for all of sector 3, but we have positions 2 down to 7 all line astern, separated by very little time, as they make their way now up through turn 2 and 3. There is turn 4 as Adams trying to line up a move on his championship rival Phoenix Grey as they make their way around turn 5 once more. Welsh Sponge going to be feeling the heat of a charging prancing pony down the back straight. There he goes, Allay up to P2. Now Phoenix Grey thought was going to have a move but sits behind. Moomin Rider's got in front of JK, that's for P6. JK trying to fight that one back, gets loose out of turn 9, and Moomin Rider's gone round out of turn, what's that, turn number 7 I should say. Welsh Sponge and Allay swap positions again. Carlos Sainz has gone straight on at turn 7 and has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. And he's not only that, he's lost a couple of positions as well. He's down behind Crytek and alongside Angry Badger. Autron Daddy Cool swapping positions. Moomin Rider is back there in 13th place after that spin with JK. JK's dropped now into almost into the clutches of the Dutchy. He's still got Yanaudi just behind, as Welsh Sponge now still inside that magical 1 second window for the letterbox gap in the rear wing to open up. He needs to stay there, needs to not get involved in too many fights with Allay or Phoenix Grey. So on lap 6 of 29, and Autron picks up a 3-second time penalty as he heads to the pits for Ferrari. It's now into turn number 5 we go. Welsh Sponge now 6 tenths behind. Are we going to see an overtake for the leaders? Smalley retires from the session. That's out in turn 3, the exit of turn 3. So an unceremonious end to the day for Haas. One driver retiring hurt, the other one retiring before even a fifth of the way through the race. Welsh Sponge there, trying to shape up a good exit at turn 7. We're on the shoulder cam. Now he's ducking to the inside through turn 8. That letterbox there you see it wide open. Welsh Sponge to the lead. Gets in front of Beaton and Alea too far back as one Red Bull was getting overtaken, the other one trying to get involved and overtake. The Dutchie's got in front of JK as he hits the brakes in toward turn 9. JK not having a great lap. He's down now to P7. Moonman Riders close the gap back up to Crytek, Carlos Sainz and Angry Badger. As he sits there in P13. So there you see the battle for the lead being led by Welsh Sponge. But only 1.5 seconds separate the top 5. As they make their way through turns 2 and 3. We've got a yellow flag. That is Moonman Rider, who, just like Cam McKenzie on lap 1, getting too excited at a turn 16 into the pit wall. Gets it pointing back the right way, but he now has a lap to get round this track with a damaged front wing, and crucially he's on a set of the hard compound tyres. He was hoping to go onto a set of mediums. He'll have to two-stop his way to the end of the race then, as Adams and Phoenix Grey, the nose cone camera getting very close there to the back of Alea as we cut to it. Then there's a little bit of wheel banging contact as Adams goes around the outside and the exit of turn 7, and now down the GT pit straight. Beaton trying to make a move on Welsh Sponge. He'll have to go the long way around at turn 9. Late on the brakes, Welsh Sponge trying to hold off the inside. Beaton using the banking and a little bit of extra momentum to dance his way around the outside. Now Alea trying to get involved as well. We've got 4 cars separated there by about 3.5 car lengths, and into turn 12 we go. Beaton holds the front, and there is the action that qualifying session promised. The Dutchie still leads Yanaudi and JK. Damir's got gap in front and behind. Oh, excuse me. As Crytek still holds off Angry Badger and Carlos Sainz. Moonman Rider, after that spin a lap ago, sits himself back in P13. Angry Badger and Crytek drifting through turn 16. There is Crytek, the Williams, the Aston Martin and the Kick Sauber. Angry Badger's got in front of all of them. Carlos Sainz gets up into P11 as well. Meanwhile, the leaders make their way into turn 5, the leading 5 into turn 5. And now making their way down the back straight away, and Adams has got in front of Alea and they're almost 2 abreast NASCAR style as Welsh Sponge gets in front of Beaton. Phoenix Grey has a look at Alea and Yanaudi gets in front of the Dutchie in the background as Moonman Rider heads back to the pits. We've got a yellow flag for a slow moving Taz manager at the exit of turn 2, but now down the GT pit straight, Beaton and Adams has gone from 4th and is trying to go into 1st here around the outside of turn 9. That's those hard compound tyres hit into their working window, still holding on to the outside of Welsh Sponge. Now he's got the inside for 10, 11 and 12. Can Adams complete an absolute worldie of a move? Yes, he can. That's a great move from the McLaren driver. This is what he needs to do. This is the aggression he needs to show if he wants to try and win the Season 5 World Championship. As in the background, Beaton, Alea and Phoenix Grey getting all tripped up over themselves, and Phoenix Grey has to sit there in P5. So currently it's a 15-point swing for Adams if he can get the race to finish like this. JK's having issues at the exit of turn 15. The Mercedes crew have just launched their car for this year, and it is a pretty much exact replica of their car from last year, from 2024, that you can see Yanaudi and Cam McKenzie driving. JK makes his way back to the pits, and the leaders make their way through turn 5. This time Beaton, however, is outside DRS range of the front 2, so he's going to be getting ready to be gobbled up by a prancing horse and the other Red Bull, as through goes Alea up into P3. Adams holds the lead into the chicane, but how long can he hold that lead for as he makes his way down the GT pit straight? As Welsh Sponge indicating there, we saw it a couple of weeks ago, the drivers weaving around, trying to indicate their intentions to the other cars. And Welsh Sponge there saying to Adams, look, I'm not coming past, you can take your line, you don't need to worry about me, into the next corner. As Beaton and Phoenix Grey held up a bit by LA here, just about a second behind. Be good for LA for the two Red Bulls if LA could get inside that 1 second window. The Dutchie meanwhile is only 2 seconds behind the leading quintet, as Phoenix Grey heads to the pits, those medium tyres running off the cliff pretty quickly it would seem, as Phoenix Grey, the championship leader, into the box. It's a new set of hards. And away he goes back into the fast lane of the pit lane. It'll be interesting to see where Phoenix Grey comes out. He will come out in P12 as everyone makes their way past the pit exit. Meanwhile, Welsh Sponge and Adams have been caught by LA and Beaton, but that gap is not as small as it was just a few moments ago. The Dutchie's still in front of Yanaudi for P5. Angry Badgers put a gap onto Carlos Sainz and Krytek. That battle currently for P9. Of course, we know a couple of drivers have stopped and or had issues. Cam McKenzie, meanwhile, has come into the pits again for a set of the hard compound tyres. You see it, and he will be hoping, I'm sure, to go to the end from here, as Adams leads on lap 10 of 29. As Welsh Sponge now into the pits. That looked like the Red Bull have beaten too. So the Red Bull cars that at the start of this race were 1, 2, 3, Beaton, Phoenix Grey and Welsh Sponge, are the first three cars into the box. The Desert Sand wearing away more on these tyres than we would potentially have thought they would. As Welsh Sponge back out into the fast lane in front of Beaton. Where is Phoenix Grey? This will be the interesting thing. How powerful is the undercuts? He makes his way down toward turn 1. He's just gone over the roof of his teammate. There is Welsh Sponge. It's going to be side by side between the two Red Bulls on the exit of turn 3. Welsh Sponge on the inside gets in front of both of them. Phoenix Grey, though, is up to P10, but will have Beaton just mere metres behind as Daddy Cool gets overtaken by Welsh Sponge. He's 2 seconds up the road over the two Red Bulls, so it looks like it's been a very good in-lap and out-lap so far for Welsh Sponge's Beaton. With the help of DRS, gets past Phoenix Grey. That is for P10 as it stands, and with all of those pitting, it means that Adams is 2.5 clear of LA, who's got 3 seconds back to Yanaudi. As I wonder when we'll see the McLaren and the Ferrari into the pits. Of course, the McLaren starting on the set of hards. Meanwhile, LA into the pits off the mediums. But it's interesting that those medium compound tyres only doing 10 laps. Adams will be looking to take these hards for another 5 or 6 laps yet to give those mediums the best chance that they can. As with LA into the pits, where will he come out? Welsh Sponge has already gone past and overhead. Welsh Sponge had a absolutely flying in and an out lap. The two Red Bulls will make their way past the Ferrari as well. In fact, it'll be disaster for LA if he comes up behind Daddy Cool, which he does so. Daddy Cool on the Alpine, though, goes defensive into turn 5. LA, I think that was potentially, I'm not racing these guys, these are the leaders, I'll get out of their way. But the two Red Bulls now need to work together to catch the 3 seconds they are behind Welsh Sponge. It's an absolutely huge gap as they head onto turns number 6 and 7. Yanaudi's got back in front of the Dutchie. Yanaudi on those set of hard compound tyres. Tyre degradation, and there goes the Dutchie. Just as I was saying that those medium tyres probably feeling a bit second hand, gives up the traction on him and he goes off into the barrier on the inside of the exit of turn 9, gets back underway past the yacht parking area, but the Dutchie there throwing away what has been a very good first stint for the Alpine team. as now he gets overtaken by Welsh Sponge, does the Dutchie, on his way back into the pits. Yellow flag, sector 3, that's for the Ferrari of Ale. So it's been 2 mini disasters there for 2 of the cars that were sitting very comfortably in the top 10. Ale with no end plate on the front wing of that Ferrari carries on. However, Welsh Sponge sets the purple lap of the Grand Prix, but the Beaton and Phoenix Grey just inside 3 seconds now, so the DRS swapping there working nicely for the 2 Milton Keynes base cars. It's Cam McKenzie on his recovery drive, sitting there P17, 4.5 seconds behind Moomin Rider. The Dutchie though will come out alongside Shane Boland and Moomin Rider. Phoenix Grey's just got back in front of Beaton on the braking zone into turns 6 and 7. I get the sense now that Beaton will come careening back past the Red Bull on their run up toward turn number 9. No move being made there. As up at the front, Adams carries on his race best he can. Needs to get these tyres long enough so that stop onto the mediums don't need too much work. Don't leave them with too much work to do. As JK makes a move on Ortron for P12. And the Red Bull team getting ready to reveal their car for the year. I don't know if I've missed the Ferrari. It's Welsh Sponge now tucked up behind Angry Badger. Welsh Sponge, after making that pit stop, has been absolutely flying on those hard compound tyres. And now into turn 5 he goes. Angry Badger going deep, getting out of the way. And Welsh Sponge will now have DRS to help. Ale retires from the session in the pit lane. He is done for the day, which is a shame considering the very good qualifying session he was having. Or the very good qualifying session he had, I should say. Beaten back still in front of Phoenix Grey, so they make their way through turns 6 and 7. Any other moves happening up and down the field? Crytek getting close to Carlos Sainz. Gaining. Looking up the inside, that would come from a long way back. Crytek on the brakes into turn number 6. Have to go hang around the outside at turn 7. Can't quite do it. Crytek there having to stay in P10 with his teammate JK just behind. But now on the run down through turn 8 toward turn 9. He'll have the long way round to go. Gets it done before they even hit the brakes. DRS working very nicely there. Beaton and Phoenix Grey get let past the Angry Badger of the Kick Sauber team. They're up to positions 4 and 5 now, still 3 seconds off the back of Welsh Sponge. He's only 3 seconds off the back of Yanaldi. It just goes to show the pace of Welsh Sponge, who's just reeling in all those in front that are yet to make a pit stop. Of course, Adams will put on most likely a fresh set of medium compound tyres and look absolutely rapid for the last 12 laps of the Grand Prix, but that's still, those last 12 laps are still 4 or 5 laps away yet, as the 2 Red Bulls in formation flying make their way down toward turn 9 once more. Yellow flag in sector 2, that is for Daddy Cool, who has had an error somewhere down at turn 7. Back underway, but out behind the 2 Astons of Crytek and JK and the Williams of Carlos Sainz. I wonder whether that was his hard compound tyres beginning to give up a bit. As Carlos Sainz has got back in front of Crytek, and Angry Badger into the pits for Kick Sauber. This will be interesting to see where he comes out. He was racing Carlos Sainz, if memory serves, before the medium shod runners made their pit stop. Non-going set of mediums, and away goes Angry Badger back into the fast lane. Here is Carlos Sainz, Crytek and JK. These were the drivers that I thought he was racing and Angry Badger on pit exit. This will be very tight between this battle. In fact, they're right next to each other, 4 cars in the space of about 100 metres down on toward turn 5. Angry Badger on the inside line. Gets it done, does he? Just about on the brakes. No, the warmer tyres of Carlos Sainz going to help carry him around. But who's going to have DRS? It's not going to be Angry Badger. He could be losing 3 positions here then down this straight. He's lost one to Krytek and Carlos Sainz. Here comes JK, so there we go. Angry Badger filters back to P10. Meanwhile, behind, Ultron and the Dutchy go either side of Daddy Cool for positions 11 and 12. And the Dutchy looked like he was trying to take a nibble out of the Ferrari as well. But nothing coming there on that occasion, as Krytek's back in front of Carlos Sainz for P7. Yanaudi now into the box. He was caught and overtaken by Welsh Sponge and the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls, who are now only 3.5 seconds, or I say only, are now 3.5 seconds behind Welsh Sponge. That gap has been getting bigger. However, all of them are just 9.5 seconds behind Adams, who is now got to be looking that this is the time to make his one and only pit stop onto medium tyres. He'll come out in plenty of clean air between Yanaudi and the 2 Red Bull cars. Yanaudi, who is just about going to beat Damir out onto track. There goes the Mercedes, there is the Kick Sauber. Just proving my point, but surely this will be Adams looking to make a pit stop soon. Angry Badger with a 3-second time penalty for track extending. Adams now into turns 11 and 12. Another puff of a lock-up there from the front right-hand side, as JK gets past both Krytek and Carlos Sainz, who are still going wheel to wheel. That's now into turn 7, and Adams into the pits. Here we go. Ted Kravitz, he would be coming your way. And Adams gets it slowed down just about for the pit marker board. He will lose. There goes the lapped TAS manager. There through goes Welsh Sponge. Here come the 2 Red Bulls. It was a good stop from the McLaren team. They're on 2 mediums now. The Red Bull Prix looks exactly the same as it did last year, as the McLaren now under the tunnel, back out onto track. Yellow flag, sector 3. That is for Carlos Sainz, I believe, who's had a spin exactly where Latifi span in 2021. No safety car this time around, and he gets back out underway, gets it flick spin pointing the right way, but he's down to P15. Cam Mackenzie, meanwhile, he's up to P12 on his recovery drive. He's nestled behind Ortron. As it stands, Adams is 8 seconds behind Phoenix Grey and beaten in the 2 Red Bulls. Just as a frame of reference, Daddy Cool and Carlos Sainz both to the pits. Daddy Cool for a set of mediums, Carlos Sainz for a new nose and a set of mediums as well. As the Dutchy now gets past Krytek. Welsh Sponge now leads us on to lap 19 of 29, and he's been caught a little bit in the last few laps by the Red Bulls. Gap down to 2.8 seconds, beaten Phoenix Grey. I wonder if they've been looking after their tyres a little bit better, and now they're beginning to get the dividends from that as they make their way up over the hill to turn number 3. Adams, meanwhile, he was 8 seconds behind. He's now 7.2. He's got 11 laps to go. He's taken 8 tenths out. Needs to keep up exactly this pace if he just to catch the 2 Red Bulls, who have got to be dreaming of a double podium. Surely for the Milton Keynes based team, as Phoenix Grey now DRS trains his way past his teammate, and he hits his brakes into turn 6 and 7. Cam Mackenzie's got past Ortron now. He's 5 seconds up the points. Still got plenty of time to go. Does Cam Mackenzie? How far up the road can he get? Yanaudi, Damir swap positions. Yanaudi's up to P5 then. 11 seconds behind those in front. Phoenix Grey now just 2.6 off the back of Welsh Sponge, as they make their way under the Yas Island Hotel. Just 11 laps to go when they 10 laps to go when they cross this line of the race that marks 10 to go in the season. And as it stands, Phoenix Grey will be extending out his championship margin over Adams, but Adams has had a mighty lap this time around. The gap was at 7.2 last time he crossed the line. It's now at 5.9. That's 1.3 seconds. This is good from Adams. This race isn't over yet, folks. He could still very well be on for a podium, if not the race win, depending on whether the Red Bulls can catch the two Red Bulls can catch the lone RB car. As the two Red Bulls make their way out of turn 5, Phoenix Grey 8/10 clear of Beaton. Beaton will have pretty much 2.5 kilometres worth of DRS though, to close back up to his flying Scottish teammate and get ready to slipstream his way past to do his stint in the lead of the train. As the gap now at 2.3, it's been a good turn 6 and 7 for Phoenix Grey. 2.2, 2.3 the gaps they hit turn 9. Adams 5.7 further back, so it's not been as good a lap this time around as the last. Damien Yanaudi still separated by very little. Angry Badger is 2 seconds clear of the Dutchie as it stands, and those fresh medium tyres working well, as the Dutchie's been caught now by JK, who's going around the outside of the Alpine, or at least trying to shape up that move at turn 9. Can he now go for the switch back underneath? No, he can't. He's not quite close enough. Runs out wide. Picks up a 3-second time penalty though for track extending. So too does Taz Manager as Taz returns to the pits. The gap at the front is 2 seconds. Adams is 5.4 off the two Red Bulls, and he's gained about half a second on this lap. 2.6 across the last 3. 8 to go still. As the leaders make their way down the back straight. 1.8 the gap now. Beaton and Phoenix Grey, they're really working together beautifully here. And now down the GT pit straight. The gap under 2 seconds for the first time in a long time. This one could go right down to the wire. Adams 5.2 further back. Autron's in the pits. Cam Mackenzie not making much headway on the battle for P8. The two Astons and the Dutchie. And the new Ferrari has been revealed, and the rumours were definitely true, folks. That darker red colour that has been rumoured, that more blood red colour, is on that car, and the white stripe of HP looks actually quite nice. It's a bit of a throwback to kind of the early 2000s cars with the kind of the Marlboro design on, that Marlboro barcode. As Yanaudi 3/10 behind Damir. The battle for P5 going on. The battle for the lead. 1.8 now the gap. Adams 4.8 off the back of the two Red Bulls. So he's gained another 6/10 on this lap. Cam Mackenzie not having a good run. Would love to get some points. Needs to get 2.5 seconds just to get inside the penalty windows of the Astons. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey Beaton swapping positions once more. Phoenix Grey now with the DRS into 1.6 seconds of territory. He's so close now. He might even be picking up DRS in the next couple of laps time. And down now the GT pit straight. 1.7, the two Red Bulls stalking their prey, working together almost like wolves more than bulls. Meanwhile, the two Aston Martins just about inside the 1 second window of the Dutchie. Krytek shaping up a move there on his teammate JK, but nothing coming as they just about hit the brakes into turn 6 and 7 without going into the back of each other. Yanaudi, Damir. Yanaudi's gone around the outside at turn 9. He's up to P5. We don't have very long left of this race, folks. We're on to lap 23 or 29 now. That's 7 laps to go. 4 seconds is the gap. They couldn't see them. The top 4 are all on now the same pit straight. It's not a particularly long pit straight here at Yas Marina. The fact that all 4 cars are there, gap of about 6 seconds as they hit the hairpin into turn 5. The gap is 1.5 at the front. And Phoenix Grey straight away getting ready to give his teammate the DRS and the slipstream to help slingshot Beaton's way closer. And there we go, Beaton under braking. 1.2, 1.1 the gap now as they hit the brakes. Phoenix Grey could get a good exit here and could get slingshot straight back past, but no, it wasn't quite the exit he'd have wanted. So Beaton has to wait another lap more. The Dutchies and Angry Badger swapping positions now. Damien Yanaudi swapping again once more. Phoenix Grey does go back around the outside at turn 9 of Beaton, but that's cost them about a couple of tenths of a second on this lap. Damien, yellow flag, sector 3. Who's that for? It's the Alpine, I believe. No, it's the Williams of Carlos Sainz in P15 at going into turn 15. In fact, not been a great second half of the race here. JK Krytek swapping positions. The two Aston Martins. The Dutchies caught the Angry Badger, who's dropped down now to P8. The gap at the front still 1.5. This time now Adams is 2.8 behind. He's gained another second or so on this lap. The gap coming down almost corner by corner, moment by moment, metre by metre. And yellow flag, sector 3. This time though, it's not for Carlos Sainz. It's for the Dutchie who was battling Angry Badger. And this is going to allow Cam Mackenzie through into P10. He's now inside the points and it's only 4.3 off the back of the Aston Martins, 1.3 to get into the penalty window of Krytek. I don't believe anyone has that more than 3 in the top 10. No, they don't. The only person with 6 is Ortron and the two Williams of Carlos Sainz and Taz Manager. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, the gap is 1.3 seconds between Welsh Sponge and Phoenix Grey. Beaten then another 1.3 back, so the two Red Bulls have broken ways a little bit, and now Adams is only 2 seconds off the back off of podium. Yanaudi, Damir still swapping positions. Damir going for the old up and under, now down the GT pit straight. Could be getting a move here. He's right behind now. He's got the DRS now. He's pulling out alongside and he's in front of Yanaudi, and he's up to P5. The kick Sauber. The Dutchie has got back in front of Cam Mackenzie. The gap at 4.1 to the two Aston Martins. Cam Mackenzie now picks up a 3-second time penalty for track extending. That all but puts an end to his hopes of getting any points from this race. I say that, and out wide there goes JK trying to go around the outside of Krytek, who does about get it done. Cam Mackenzie and the Dutchie picked up a 3-second time penalty too. So this is now full position. The gap at 3.9 to the Aston Martins in front. And this is all so close here. So many battles, so many culminating factors. We're into the last 5 laps. Phoenix Grey is now 1.2 off the back of Welsh Sponge. 1.5 then the gap back to Beaton, who's picking up DRS off the injured Shane Boland's AI. Adams then 1.6 further back. It's all so close at the front of the field. Yanaudi, Damir, they're onto the back straight once more, and Yanaudi's inside DRS range, and he's gaining on the kick Sauber. And he's gaining and he's gaining and he's gaining and he's gaining, but he's not quite gaining enough for this straight. JK Krytek 3.5 seconds clear of Cam Mackenzie just behind. No moves happening then on the run in toward turn 6 and 7. Maybe between Cam Mackenzie and the Dutchie looking this way and that, trying to find a way past. Nothing coming there. Yanaudi, Damir. Yanaudi this time around the outside into turn 9. Gets the move done. He's back up into P5. Through goes there, they'll believe the Williams of Carlos Sainz, who's being a bit cheeky, of course, unlapping himself. You're completely allowed to do that. Phoenix Grey has now caught Welsh Sponge. The gap is well under a second. Adams has caught Beaton. Krytek and JK are still going wheel to wheel on the run in toward turn 12. The two Aston Martins so close to each other, no contact being made. Good, clean, hard racing, which is what we love to see. Phoenix Grey though, he's now on the back of Welsh Sponge. He's inside DRS range. He's a car length behind. Adams 2 behind Beaton now. Phoenix Grey with DRS pulling alongside Welsh Sponge. The RB in front goes to the inside line, that left hand side, goes on the brakes up the inside. Adams goes around the outside and Beaton, and he's up now into P3. 2.3 off the back of Welsh Sponge, his next victim. But that oversteer moment on the exit of turn 7, that's not going to help him on the run down toward turn 8. What's not going to help Phoenix Grey though is the fact that Welsh Sponge has just gone to clean around the outside. He's back up into the lead of the race. We've got 3 to go at the end of this one. Yanaudi and Damir They're going through turn 6 and 7 now. And they come around turn 8. Yanaudi with a good run out of the last part of that chicane. And he's clear for at least this lap. I say that in Damir with the power of DRS lunge back up the inside. Back into P5, JK, Angry Badger, Krytek. They've all been caught. Cam McKenzie's dropped the Dutchie a bit. He's now 2.9 behind the 3 in front, and he needs them to keep battling. The McLaren team are getting ready to reveal their livery for this year in their Constructors' Championship title defence. As up at the front of the field, Phoenix Grey, Welsh Sponge, Adams and Beaton all make their way around turn 5 onto the back straight. And now down toward turn 6 and 7. Phoenix Grey's going up the inside of Welsh Sponge. We'll have a look at the off-board shot. Phoenix Grey, though, backed out of it. Under braking was not close enough. Adams, though, now 2 seconds behind. Needs to try and break clear of Beaton a bit. Beaton is going to try and rear gun for Phoenix Grey, his teammate, as much as possible against his championship rival. And Yanaudi and Damir still very close to each other as they hit the brakes into turn 6 and 7. There's Carlos Sainz in there as well. That's the ghosted Williams car in that gap. Krytek, JK have both got past Angry Badger now. Angry Badger 1.3 clear of Cam McKenzie. Welsh Sponge has just picked up a 3-second time penalty, and surely that is going to be the end of his chances at the race win, unless he can find 3 seconds in the last 2 laps. 1.9 seconds is the gap now between Adams and Phoenix Grey. What can Phoenix Grey do to get involved, to hold off Adams? Because Adams is getting free now of Beaton. What can Welsh Sponge do? How's he going to play the last 2 laps of this track, the last 32 corners? And he's through the first 5 of them already, so 27 corners left. He'll be counting them down one by one in his head. He'd love to win this on track despite that penalty. And now down the back straight, Phoenix Grey 4 tenths behind, Adams 1.7 further back. Carlos Sainz with another 3-second time penalty as he hits the pits. That frees up Damir and Yanaudi to race cleanly from here on out. Cam McKenzie 7 tenths of a second behind Angry Badger. That will be for P9 at the end of the race. We've got a yellow flag sector 3, that's for the McLaren and Moomin rider who's had an issue. Now, meanwhile, there's some defensive manoeuvres being made there by Welsh Sponge as Phoenix Grey goes around the outside onto turn 9 on lap 28. We've got a lap and a half to go. 23 corners left. And now Adams, what can he do? Can he find 7 tenths of a second in this last sector? Make it close. Just give himself a sniff at a chance to get inside DRS range of the 2 leaders. 1.5 this gap as they go through turn 15 now. 1.4. He'll be trying to count down every single tenth of a second on Welsh Sponge, who's still there, half a second off the back of Phoenix Grey. And now onto the last lap we go here, folks. This is almost like a title decider here. You get the sense that no matter which way this swings, the momentum could be massively important for the last 9 races and 1 lap. Phoenix Grey into turn 5. Surely this is going to be it now. Adams isn't close enough, is he? So it's just going to be between Welsh Sponge and Phoenix Grey. All they've got to do is keep it clean. Phoenix will know, Chris will know that Sponge has that 3-second time penalty, and there's no move being made on the run into turn 6 and 7. Meanwhile, there are other battles we'll check in on as they come toward the action areas, but through turn 8 we go, down the GT pit straight. Adams is not going to be close enough to make a move for the lead. Maybe he needed just another couple of laps. McLaren have revealed their livery for this year, and it's exactly the same as last year, basically yellow and black. And Welsh Sponge, Phoenix Grey, wheel to wheel down toward turn 12. Side by side, Welsh Sponge has got in front, under braking into turn 13. That's for pride though, because he won't claim the win with that 3-second penalty. It will be the man behind, the Flying Scotsman. Phoenix Grey will win back to back after the win in Abu Dhabi last time out. Welsh Sponge won't even get the podium, so heartbreak there for the RB. Unaudi's going to finish just about in front of Daymir as they have only a couple of corners left to go. Cam Mackenzie's got in front of Angry Badger. Can he get one of the two Aston Martin cars? He's wheel to wheel with them. Going under the hotel, Unaudi, Daymir, right to the last corner. These two have fought, and it's going to be Unaudi just about on the line by millimetres. That front wing was clear of the rear wing. JK will lead home Cam Mackenzie for P7 and 8. Krytek then P9. Angry Badger will pick up a point for Kick Sauber. The Dutchie fell away a lot in the last half of the race for P11. Ortron, Movement Rider, Daddy Cool, the last three cars not to be lapped, all in the final sector now. Ortron around the final corner, up to the line, P12 for him. No repeats of the heroics of Baku last time out. Movement Rider to the line, he'll be thinking what could have been so quick in qualifying. Just no, not quite the race pace. Daddy Cool comes home in P14. Krytek gets the in-game driver of the day. My driver of the day is going to go to, I think, Welsh Sponge. Had it not been for the unfortunate penalty there with a couple of laps to go, would have gone on to win that race on track. The top four, though, 25 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Unaudi went from P12 to P5. That deserves quite a big shout out as well. Krytek and Angry Badger 14th and 15th points. Cam Mackenzie too getting a shout out. Yes, he started it on the front row of the grid, but he was pointing backwards at the end of lap 1. So to still walk away with 4 points is quite a good day for him. But Welsh Sponge will get my driver of the day. Phoenix Grey, the race winner. Adams champing at the bit. 8 tenths behind was the gap at the end of the race. Folks, I've been Sharp. Thank you so much for watching. You can probably hear it that my voice is going away a little bit at the end of the day. I hope to see you all again very, very soon. Next week, I believe we're in Melbourne, which will be very interesting. Of course, we've rounded off last season there in a 100% race. So I leave that all to be excited for. Unless I told a lie about the McLaren. I might just wait in case McLaren have only lined up their reveal for their livery. No, I wasn't. Right, they have. It is just pretty much the exact same. Anyway, so for now, folks, thank you so much for watching. I've been Sharp. I hope to see you all again very, very soon. But for now, good night and good
Sometimes it feels like I'm living a dream, but I know that it's real 'cause backseat. I'm like Usain Bolt at the track meet. Try to keep it cool, but I ain't even low key. Got a hundo in my pocket, I ain't rosie. Cause I'm getting back to the basics. What hit me, what hurt me, what made me. Cause maybe this life is worth saving. And I think